Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. My name is Brendan, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the admissions process at Flatiron's UI UX part-time online program. But I will say it's going to be the similar admissions process for any program, so stick around even if it's not that program that you're going to be applying to. One last note, I wanted to apologize for not getting this video out earlier. I had a few people ask me to do this video, but I was sick last week, so I wanted to make sure I was at full strength when I made it. So let's dive in. So first, let's talk about filling out the application on the website. When I decided that Flatiron School was in the mix, I went straight to the website to find out more information, and that's where I discovered the application. You should definitely check out the website when you're trying to do the initial research. I'm sure you've done that already if you're watching this video, but if you haven't, make sure to do that. So when you apply on the website, it's going to ask you some basic information like your first and last name, your contact information, and what program you're going to be applying to. Then when you hit submit, you will actually see additional questions that you'll have to fill out for the application. It asks you what country you live in, where you want to study. For me, I'm doing it online, so that's what I chose, and when you'll be available to start. Then there's a paragraph section that gives you the opportunity to share some information about yourself, why you're interested in the program, and I'll give you some tips on that at the end of the video, but that's a big part of the initial form. The last few questions are, what do you hope to get after doing the program? How did you hear about Flatiron, and your birth date? So after you fill this out, you're gonna look to see the email or call come through, and I believe it was an email when I got it, just to get the initial ball rolling, and that's when we're gonna jump into the phone interview. So that's what I'm gonna be talking about next. One thing I want to mention before is it only took about 24 hours for me to hear back from the admissions team. They reached out, we scheduled that phone interview. It's about a 30-minute interview. The first 15 minutes, they're gonna run through the program just to give you some more information, because up until this point you might have questions. So that's the first half of the interview. They're gonna give you any questions that you have, they're gonna answer and give you all the information that you would need to kind of go forward. And then in the second half of the interview, it's another 15 minutes or so, and they're gonna ask you questions about yourself, and the goal is to really learn about you. They want to know what you plan on doing after the program, how you plan on supporting yourself, and these kind of things. At the very end of the interview, they're going to ask you about how you plan on doing the financing options, and really the interview is just to see if there's a mutual fit and if you would be a good investment for them, especially if you're going to do the income share agreement option. So then after the interview, you should wait a couple of days before you hear back. It took about 4 for me, and I got both a call and an email congratulating me for getting into the program, and the email that they sent will tell you the next steps that you have to take. One is picking the start date, when you plan on starting, and then the finance option that you're going to choose, whether you're going to pay up front or do the ISA. I personally did the income share agreement, so I'm going to start talking about that and give you input on how that works. So the income share agreement is ran actually through their partner Vimo Education. So in that first email that you get, you're gonna have to submit a driver's license and birth certificate, or a passport / green card, depending on what you have. So I did the first option, I submitted that. It took a couple of hours for them to say it looks good to go. And then what you do is you fill out a finance application where they run your credit, make sure that everything looks good, and then you'll hear back from them to make sure that everything's good to go. I think it took me about 24 hours, about a day, to hear back, got the information that I was accepted for the ISA, and then I went back and talked to the admissions team at Flatiron, finished out the application. Essentially, it's just confirming all the information is correct, and then you're good to go. So now I want to talk about 2 questions that you might be asking yourself. First, what are they looking for? Now, you might be wondering if you're going to be a fit for them. First off, there's various backgrounds of people that are in the program, whether it's this program or any program, matter of fact. And so you don't have to be coming from a specific cloth. You don't have to have a specific background of education or experience. And in fact, they don't have any sort of criteria in order to apply or to get in, just so you know. So yes, as I mentioned, there isn't a required amount of experience that they expect you to have, but they do want to see that you're committed and serious after the program into breaking into the field, and they want to make sure that you're somebody that when they put the time and energy and effort into, you're going to be somebody that can get into the field. With that said, there isn't really a focus on this, but obviously these are things that they are going to want. So if you have that in you, then they're going to see you as a more attractive applicant. Now, it helps to show that you have self-taught experience or learning prior to the program. It shows them that you've taken initiative and that you're somebody that's committed and serious, as I mentioned. So when you talk about yourself, make it known that you've read books, you've listened to podcasts, you've taken online courses, whatever it is that you've done, make it known. Even if you have a certificate, even better. You just want to show that you're committed and you've taken initiative. And additionally, you should have an idea of what you want to do after the program and make that known to them, because they're going to want to know what kind of company you're trying to work for, where exactly you're trying to work, whether you're going to relocate, you're going to work remotely, you're going to be in your area. These are the kind of things that they might ask you about. And now I just want to give you 3 final tips for applying. This is my 2 cents. You don't have to take this, but this is what I'd recommend. First off, spend some time learning about the field on your own prior to, enrolling or admitting into the program. And there's a reason for this. Not only will you have an understanding of what you're getting into before getting into the program, but when you're learning, you're going to be seeing things in a different light. It's kind of like reading a book and then going back and reading it again. You're going to have different questions the next time, and you're going to have more insights because you've already had some understanding as to what the book is about or can really relate to anything. But that's what I would recommend. Make sure to take time up front, do your own homework, see if it's even something you'd enjoy, and then apply into a UX bootcamp, whether it be Flatiron or anywhere else. That's what I would recommend. Second thing I'd recommend is to get your life in order before getting into the program. This is a very important thing. Not only do they want to see how you're going to support yourself, but you want to make sure that when you're in this program, you're fully committed, you're able to do the work, you're able to finish. And if you leave work to the last second, you're not going to get the most out of this program as you might have hoped to. Because if you finish the assignments last second, you're not taking the time to add the additional things that could make you a better designer, and it's only going to hurt you in the long run. And lastly, it's important to begin networking and really thinking about your future, as I kind of already have talked about. You want to make sure you have a plan after you get out of the program, so when you break into the field, you have a way of doing so. And not everyone's going to be able to right off the bat. And if you're the kind of person that's going to need to start working right away, it would be a detriment to you to go back and do something that you've already been doing when you just had all of this learning and experience. You might lose the motivation to get into the field altogether, and it just would be an issue. So I would fully recommend having some sort of a plan prior to doing it. Me personally, I spent over a year doing my own learning and basically tried to break into the field on my own. And so doing all of that upfront work is going to allow me to start into the field prior to even finishing the program. So thank you for watching the video. In the next video, I'm actually going to be covering weeks 3 and 4, the update, and I'm going to be putting it up today as well. So make sure to check that out. Also, like, subscribe, and leave your questions in the comments section, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for joining.